Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 13 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. I'm joined today by Gem Slate. How are you, Gem Slate?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good. I've got a little teleport over here set up, by the way, to my Botania area. Gem Slate, as you guys know, every now and then I will auction off for charity an opportunity to hang out in the Let's Play series for a day. So Gem Slate is the latest winner of that. We did a Child's Play charity with CubeTubers. Those of you who follow me on Twitter might have seen me tweeting about it. We did an auction this time, so basically everybody chipped in $5 for a ticket, and we randomly drew a name. So Gem Slate is the winner of that contest. So number one, Gem Slate, thank you for donating to Child's Play charity, and number two, congratulations on winning.
I'm just glad I could help out, and I appreciate the opportunity to being here.
Nice, man. So I want to work on something kind of cool this episode, and hopefully you can help me out just a bit. Does that sound like a plan?
It does, but I'm more of a tech person, so I'll be a little slow on it, but I'll do what I can.
No worries. You might be able to help me out with the technical aspect of this build. We're going to combine technology and magic for automation purposes. How much do you know about Botania?
I can spell it if I look it up on Google.
Okay, so lots, apparently. So here's how it works, right? You generate mana with a bunch of different purposes, be it like sunlight or, there's basically a dozen different ways to generate mana. The current way that I'm doing it is with coal. So if we pop back over to our little area over here, you'll notice that, long story short, the flowers nearby generate mana, and they feed it into this block, which then shoots it into this block, which is a storage block. With me so far?
Yes, I am.
Cool. This flower in particular can eat up any fuel source. So for example, if I dropped a piece of wood on there, it would eat up the wood, convert it to mana, and generate a bunch of mana for us, and you can see the mana beam shooting into the mana pool. So wood doesn't last terribly long, unfortunately. Coal, of course, will last longer, and coal blocks last even longer. So if I throw a coal block on there, it'll, last a pretty good amount of time and generate all kinds of good mana for us and do all kinds of nifty things. The problem is that's awfully manual of a process. I have to keep coming over here, dropping coal blocks on there. It usually lasts like maybe a good couple minutes, so it's not like I can just stand here and drop them all, because if I just drop this whole stack of coal blocks on there, it only picks up one at a time. So I can't just throw the stack down, otherwise they'll just eventually despawn. So I want to automate it so that I can do two things. Number one, drop a coal block when this endoflame runs out of fuel. And number two, make sure not to keep dropping coal blocks when the mana pool fills up. So that's kind of my automation challenge for today. Sound crazy?
Of course.
Good. That's the plan. So let's get started figuring out how to do that. I might wind up doing a lot actually underneath, because I kind of like the way my Botania building turned out. I'm going to need a couple objects from Project Red. So in order to get red alloy ingots, I just have to smelt some red iron compound. So let me get some of that cooking up, and I'm also going to need to smelt, I'm actually going to get a stack, and I'll get 8 of these. That should do. The other thing I need to smelt, so are you going to go with Project Red and all the stuff that tails?
I've done a little bit with it, not as much as like Enderai and some of the others.
Nice. Well, we'll have fun with it, don't worry. So I'll get that cooking up, and then I also want to cook some smooth stone, because that will require some other stuff that we need will require smooth stone. I can't throw it in there just yet, but it shouldn't be too long. There we go. Cool. So the first thing I'm making is red alloy ingots. These are awesome because they're basically an advanced form of redstone dust. I think that's still the recipe. Here we go. Alright, if you're in the middle of my big room here, you can see I'm like laying out some red alloy wire on the floor. So it's just a way to transfer a redstone signal. The nice thing about it is that you can run it up walls and around corners, so you don't have to worry about the limitations of redstone. You can kind of put it wherever you want. Lots of cool stuff you can do with that.
Yeah, that I've worked with.
Yeah, it's the best. Anybody who does anything with redstone will really appreciate having Project Red in the pack, just because it's awesome. So, red alley wire, awesome stuff. Whoa, that broke really fast. I might also want to work on, besides the automation of this thing, some of the toys that we can get courtesy of Botania. There's some really nice items that Botania has, and if you haven't had a chance to check it out, Gem, you definitely should, because it's cool stuff.
Well, it's definitely on the plan now that I'm running Direwolf 20 myself.
Nice. Okay, so I want a couple things. First off, I want a timer from Project Red, and I'll show you guys how this all integrates in a minute. But basically, to make a timer, I need circuit plates, which I've got, conductive plates, which I can make, anodes, which I can make, cathodes, and these guys, the pointer blocks. So basically, I need some smooth stone and some redstone and some sticks, and that's about all I'm going to really need. I just sorted my sticks, I think. I did do a full-blown sorting system with Ender.io. I don't know if you've played with Ender.io for sorting at all yet, but that was cool.
Yeah, I really like the capabilities that are in Ender.io.
Oh yeah, it's great, isn't it? I'm just going to make a handful of these items real quick in the crafting window here, don't mind me. So I'm going to make a timer. I only need one of them, I think. And the other thing I want to make is a comparator. But I'm going to make the Project Red version of it. So I'm going to need a couple... The only reason I want the Project Red version over the vanilla comparator is you can put it on walls, and I might want to do that. Alright, so now that we've got that down, I'm going to show you guys why I want to do this in a minute. But one of the things I want to make is a mana detector. What this does is I need a redstone comparator from vanilla Minecraft and some redstone and some other stuff. So let's get a couple of this. This should wind up being a pretty fun build, I think. Alright, buddy, you ready to follow me?
I'm on it.
Alright. So the first thing I'm going to place down is the mana detector from Botania. I thought that would be good. Living rock, comparator. Maybe I have to do this. Oh, you know what? I forgot redstone. I used up the last of it making the... I'll be right back. Okay. There we go. So the mana detector here will, every time a mana pulse goes through the mana spreader, it'll not affect the pulse in any way. It'll still shoot through the block. Normally a block in between a spreader and a mana pool would prevent the mana pulse from shooting through it. This time it'll be allowed to go through, and it'll emit a redstone pulse every time that happens. Okay. What I want to do in conjunction with that is place down the timer that I made. The timer, here, let me place down right there. You're standing where I want to be. Thank you, buddy. Will spin around every so many seconds, and I'm going to make it like 10 seconds, for example. And it'll emit a redstone signal every 10 seconds. So you'll see here, it'll emit a redstone signal. Now the trick with the timer is, if there's a redstone signal that goes into the back of the timer, it'll reset the timer. So watch this. Every time a pulse occurs, watch what happens. See how the timer is being reset?
That's cool.
So it'll never actually trigger a redstone signal because the detector block is detecting a mana blast shooting through it. Pretty neat.
That works.
Right. So the plan then, guys, is we're going to use this feature of timers, the mana detector, and red alloy wire to make it so that I can detect when there's no mana blast shooting from the spreader to the detector. Basically, the only time a redstone signal will come out on this side of the block is when there's no mana burst shooting through, aka there's no endoflame action going on. So once this thing runs out of fuel, 10 seconds later, the timer will be allowed to tick, it'll emit a redstone signal, and I'm going to use that redstone signal to trigger a block of coal dropping onto the endoflame. Does that sound like a neat plan?
Yes, it does.
Oh man, you stole my bed. Alright, so I need to get ready to do some wiring. I want to keep this nifty building that I made because I'm pretty proud of it. So hopefully, I can make this as, functional as possible. So I'm going to make this as underground as possible. The only other feature I want to do is I made the comparator. So what this does is the comparator will emit a redstone signal, and I'm hoping the vanilla one works. Let's see. I might need a redstone dust to see this because it might be less obvious with alloy wire. But the vanilla comparator, at least, and hopefully the Project Red comparator as well, will emit a redstone signal relative to how full the mana pool is. So if it's very full, it'll be like 15 strength, and here you can see it's a power of 1. So it's a very weak signal coming out of the mana pool because it has just a little bit of mana in it. Basically, I'm going to use this to detect when the mana pool is either full or almost full, and when that's the case, I don't have to worry about the fuel dropping onto the endoflame, because when it's full, there won't be any mana pulse going from the spreader to the mana pool, so it would just start dropping coal over and over again because it would never be pulsing.
So you're going to set it up so that whenever the mana pool is full, it keeps the timer from turning.
You got it. I'll basically have a steady redstone signal applied to the back of the timer, because every time the timer receives a redstone signal, it'll reset, but if it has a steady signal, it'll just stop running at all, and it won't output anything at all. Cool. So the detector here will basically make it so that it resets. So if we set it back to like 10 seconds or 12 seconds, whatever, every time the detector goes, it'll reset it. But then the comparator's job, which I'll place down here, and right now it's only going to go with a very small fuel source, but you'll see that because the comparator is emitting a signal, it's not running at all.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, pretty neat. So this should be easy to automate, honestly. I just need to hide all the wiring as best as I can. So how about we take a break? We'll come back in a second when we're ready to figure out where I want all this to run, because I need to stretch out the redstone signal a little bit so that a strength of 15 is the only one that's going to stop this from running, or something along those lines. And we'll be back in a minute, me and Gem Slate. Alright guys, Gem Slate and I have returned. And Gem, have you played at all with the... Probably not, since you haven't done much with Botania, you said. I'm trying to remember where my Botania stuff is. I have to organize my inventory a little better, apparently, because I don't know where it is. Oh, you know what? I left it back at the... I'll be right back. Have you played at all with the open crate from Botania?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's cool stuff. I will demonstrate it to you. You know how a dropper works in vanilla Minecraft?
Yes, I do.
Do you know what makes a dropper in vanilla Minecraft terrible?
Doesn't go up.
It doesn't go down. So I can demonstrate this pretty easily, why I don't like the vanilla dropper. It's unreliable in how it drops items. So if I were to get a dropper and place it up here, and a lever, and let's say I wanted to drop this piece of cobblestone. You ready? Alright, well that went forward, so that's another problem with the dropper. There we go, that's probably better. So let's say I wanted to drop this piece of cobble. Watch how the cobblestone drops. See how it's like not even close to being underneath the dropper?
Yeah.
I think they use like the same code when you like kill entities or anything else that makes items drop, and it doesn't drop straight down. So if you want it to hit the block that's directly under it, you can't use a vanilla dropper. It's just not going to work. So there's a couple mods that, or blocks that mods add that allow this to work. The other problem with the dropper is that it requires a redstone signal, which for our case is not that big a deal, but for now I'm not going to worry about it. What I'm going to do is use this block, which is from Botania. It's called the Open Crate, and it's very useful because I'm going to need more wood. First off, it doesn't need a redstone signal, but it does need to be piped in items, so there's no way to directly access its inventory as far as I know. But if you pipe items in, either by Ender.io or even a vanilla hopper for that matter, any item that lands in there will immediately be dropped straight down, no redstone signal required, and it'll drop perfectly straight down every time. Cool?
Nice.
So that's what I'm going to use to drop the coal blocks into my system. Now, the way I'm going to make that work is courtesy of the timer. Check this out. If I make this thing a 10 or 12 second delay, sure, why not? We'll make it 10. Watch what happens if I have a stack of cobblestone in there. Oh, wait. I need a NOT gate, I forgot. I need to apply a redstone signal to this thing. Let me get a NOT gate. So that should be easy to make. I randomly decided this is where I'm keeping these things now. So a NOT gate is basically going to keep the opposite signal, right? So if I put the timer here and make this 10 seconds, and then throw my cobblestone in, watch what happens every time the timer pulses. Here goes nothing. Exactly one item drops. So it works perfectly with just the hopper and the open crate, huh?
That works good.
Yeah. So that's basically how I'm going to convert the redstone signal from the timer that we're going to get with the setup I showed you earlier into dropping one piece of coal. Not too shabby?
Not at all.
So I've got this stuff. I would like to take a nap real quick, because this has been a long day of automation already. And would you like to assist me in running some alloy wiring and making cool stuff?
Certainly.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to set up is probably down here. I'm going to dig down a little bit so we have easier access to what we're working on. You can see I've already set up the comparator there, right? So this will probably want to have... Do you have any redstone on you by chance?
Not regular.
Alright, I'll get some of that too, because we'll probably need just a handful of that. Half a stack should do, and I'll throw into my junk chest the vanilla dropper. I should just put that in the trash. Alright, so I'll put a redstone signal here. There you go. And... well, basically I'm going to have it be regular old redstone because red alloy wire won't lose its, it won't lose any strength at all.
I got you.
Cool. So the timer here is what's going to come off of this guy. But you notice how the output is facing up? If you mouse over it, Wayla tells you where the outputs and inputs are.
Right.
So what you want to make is a screwdriver from Project Red. And that will allow you to rotate the timer by right-clicking on it. Fancy? So I'm probably going to want to set this delay to something like 10 seconds. And then over here, I'm going to want to set up, probably right up here is the open crate. And maybe I want it one level lower because I think above it is a block. So we put like the open crate there and the hopper there like that. Now my only job is to run red alloy wire over to that hopper from down here. So down here is where we're going to build our circuit. So basically, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Might want that to be a little longer. So maybe I'll do something like this. So that's signal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then I should be able to do something. I'm going to make it 13 for now, and if I have to adjust it later, I can. But I'm going to have the timer be like here. And if you can do me a favor, run some red alloy wire from that mana detector into the back of the timer for me.
Into the N?
Into the N for me. Cool. So if this thing's solid, it stops. Nice. So that's a redstone power of 5 right there. Let's shorten that up just a little bit. I'm gonna bump it out one more bit of length here. That's a redstone power of 3. So that'll be mostly full, let's say. It'll be about almost full. I could bump it out to 15 if I need to. Well, all right, let's just finalize it, right? Why not? Is that good? Yeah, it's a power of 1. Oh, look, that's too short because it's running now.
But your switch is going to be closer than your comparator, so you've got a stronger signal off your switch.
Let's see. What's that?
Let's see. Yeah, you've got a 15 under the switch, so your switch is actually giving it more power than your comparator.
Oh, you're right. I have a 15 under the switch. Good catch. You are correct, sir. I thought that wasn't going to need to be that long. So let's see. That's a redstone power of 1. So yeah, let's bump this down to here. Yeah, I didn't notice the switch hitting it. See, I'm terrible at vanilla redstone. If it doesn't show that it's connecting, then I don't know. I mean, if I really wanted this to be perfect, I could do something like... Would that get me? No, it's the same thing. See, I'm no good at making vanilla redstone work well. I'll just stick with this for now and maybe tweak it later. So that's not terrible. Okay. Do you need food, by the way?
No, I'm good. I've got an apple.
Okay, cool. Alright, so with that said, this should basically work, right? So what'll happen is, if, and I'll just break this for now to demonstrate, if this thing gets strong enough to hit a redstone signal all the way over here, so it'll be about almost completely full, it'll disable the timer from spinning, like that.
Right.
Otherwise, this timer running, or this thing, you know, every time it receives a mana burst, will also stop the timer from running. So if we set this to like 10 seconds and drop some coal on there, the timer should never run. Starting now. Oh, you know what? Okay. Sometimes, depending on the way the blocks are coded, you might have to do something like... Oh, come on, don't give me trouble now. Let's try this. Nope. It's giving a weak redstone signal, so that's not good. So what I can do then instead is put a repeater on there. Repeater should work. So let me make one of those real quick. And I'll use the Project Red one again so it can be on walls. So 2, 2, and 1. And there we go, and out. That might be better. Now we're talking. Cool.
Cool.
So typically with blocks, you could actually put the red alloy wire on it, but I guess the mana detector is considered a, not the kind of block you can put stuff on, like glass. Like you can't put red alloy wire on glass, but you can put it on stone. So when you run into that issue where it's not triggering the red alloy wire, throw a repeater on and you're good to go.
Okay. Now, how are you going to get your signal up top? Are you going to run a remote up there, or are you going to wire it all the way up?
I was thinking I was going to do a wire all the way up. So the problem is that there's currently a bug in the Direwolf 20 pack. So I could... Let me go grab something here real quick. Have you played with microparts at all?
No, what I was thinking was the, what is it? The CBE Logic
Like
wireless receiver.
Let me try and get... What were you thinking? You cut out there.
The CBE wireless transmitter and receiver.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so wireless redstone. I don't know if I really have enough stuff for that right now. That requires ender pearls, and I don't think I have what I need for that. I have one ender pearl. I could try and get some more. Also needs a bit of obsidian, and I'm kind of short on that as well. Yeah. Let's try it this way. I'm going to get... What I would love to be able to do is do this the proper way, but unfortunately, like I said, there's a bug right now. So I'm going to have to do this the weird way. It's not going to look great, but when the Direwolf 20 pack updates, the bug will be fixed, and it'll look better then, I promise. So I'm going to make a saw. This is from Forge Microparts. Have you played with the saws at all and microblocks and such?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so what you can make with these guys, and I'm just going to make a few, is multi-parts that can cover up these wires for us. So the multi-parts, I just made a cover. It's a really thin block. And what's nice is go ahead and run the cover, or run the wire behind the cover for me. And you can like hide it for the most part. So you can do something like this, right? So the wire is running behind the block and you can't even see it. And it looks pretty good. Unfortunately, there's a bug where it's a config setting that we have to change in the pack, and it was supposed to be in there for release, but something happened with the configs and it didn't go through correctly. So you can't use chisel blocks with microparts. So the next version of the Direwolf 20 pack, which will probably be out by the time this video goes live, version 1.02, should have that config change. So once that goes live and I get it, I'll make sure to replace what I'm about to do with chisel blocks so that the place looks cool. But for now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do this a not so awesome way. So what I'm thinking is that we grab our shovel. You know what I could probably do? I could run this up the corner, kinda. That would be mostly hard to see. It would be visible more so from the outside than the inside. So let's see, I think it's right about here that I need to hit. So basically, yeah, run that stuff for me. You can run it around, like, loop it down here. There we go. So let's see if that pulse actually triggers the coal to drop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace what we have in there right now. Instead of coal blocks, I'm going to use wood blocks so that it burns up a lot faster. And this will be easier to demonstrate with. I don't need that thing. Already having inventory issues. It's episode 13, Gemslate, and I'm having inventory issues already, if you can believe that.
I can.
Okay. All right, I forgot my NOT gate. Let's get the NOT gate placed down. Put our comparator back. There we go. So that's preventing the thing to drop. So what we can do now is use these covers. And unfortunately, like I said, we don't have access to covers that are from Chisel, but that will be going into the pack probably super duper soon. So next version of the pack, I'll be able to fix this so that you won't even know that there's wiring running there. By the way, be careful. There we go. That's better. Not to cut off the wiring. All right, so that doesn't look terrible-ish.
Looks good from my house.
Yeah, not too bad. So how are we for oak wood planks here? So we'll see what happens. So that thing's pulsing. It resets the timer. Looks like the endo thing is not working anymore. So watch. When it pulses, it drops the wood down. The wood starts getting picked up and burned. And then it starts doing mana pulses. And it resets the timer, and it won't allow it to drop another piece of wood until the endo flame runs out of fuel. That is cool. It's actually working.
You sound surprised.
Well, you know, I surprise myself sometimes. So the only thing that will occasionally throw this off, and this is super minor and unimportant, but the day blooms will occasionally generate a mana burst. So, but that'll only cause a delay of 10 seconds. So that's really not a concern for me. Overall, I kind of feel like this works. And what I could do, if I really wanted to be crazy, is maybe get it to drop 2 blocks at a time, but we'll deal with that later. I could probably use a repeater to increase the tick delay and have it drop 2 blocks, and I could have like 2 endo flames there, or 3 or 4, like something like that. It would be worth trying.
Or you could use multiple droppers.
Well. What's that?
Or you could just set it up to where you're dropping from more than one location.
That's true too. You're correct. So I should be able to now cover everything up here and everything will continue. So that was the plan, at least. Look at that. You would never know that we have all this crazy wiring in here. And that's kind of the goal. I like to have stuff look nice. And here, look, I'll even fancy it up a little bit more for us. Come on, watering can. Spread the grass. Hooray! Ta-da! Look at that. All tidied up.
I'd say a job well done.
Not too shabby. Alright guys, we will be back in just a minute. Now for me to figure out... that was a 30-minute episode already, believe it or not.
I told my wife time was going to go by so slow till I got here, and the next 30 minutes would pass by in about 8 seconds.
That really was a quick episode. I'm not used to it being that fast. Okay, so I think we can wrap up. Is there anything you wanted to say or do or mention? You can, plug your YouTube channel if you want. I'm cool with that.
No, I figure if anybody wants to find me, they'll look up my name. But I appreciate it.
Okay, that's cool. Maybe I'll make one more thing before we wrap up. I just need some shears. All right, follow me, sir. Well, Gemslate, I think we both kind of joked about how fast this episode would go, but I am a little bit surprised that it went just as fast as it did.
It's because it worked.
Yeah. I guess so. I did test it a little bit in a single player world to make sure that everything would be mostly functional. I usually do that. Like I'll spend a minute or two in a single player world, make sure it's behaving like I expect it to, and then, you know, we're good to go. So I want to make one more thing, because you said that you haven't really played with Botania all that much, and I want to demonstrate one of the items that should encourage you to at least play with Botania. Come on out here, sir. This is the Horn of the Wild. Go ahead and give it a try.
Oh, that is cool.
Right? I'm one of those people who, like, I guess maybe it's because I started playing Minecraft before the tall grass existed, or I don't honestly know why, but tall grass kind of bothers me when it's like all littered around your base. So I usually like to clear it out pretty quickly. And long story short, I wanted to make that horn for a while now so that I could get that happening.
It's definitely better than the bucket of water I use.
Yeah, I mean, you can just walk around and hold it. Here, toss it back, I'll show you. Oh, it's the greatest. Nice. That is cool. So, I think, unfortunately, my good sir, we need to wrap up the episode. So, it's actually went by really quick, but I think, like you said, it's because we just, you know, it worked. It really did. It just kind of worked, and then all of a sudden, the episode was over. So, thank you again for joining me. I'm hoping you had a good time hanging out.
I certainly did, and I appreciate the opportunity to just share the moment with you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I definitely appreciate having you on here. I do really appreciate, like I said, your hanging out on the Child's Play charity stream and donating for us, so that was really cool.
Well, I enjoyed it. It was a good stream and a good cause.
Yeah, good times. All right, everybody. So for now, oh, nice. Great stuff. All kinds of good stuff. I should be careful using this near my farm. All right, for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hey, do me a favor, Jem. Help me clean up this stuff, would you?
Sure thing.
Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and take it easy.
Take care, everybody.